My name is Hesam Nozari. I'm a teacher and researcher in California. The program that you are going to watch is about a bacterium, AA. This bacterium has destroyed the smiles of children and young adults, millions of them. After watching this program, I hope you will realize that together we can eliminate this enemy of a smile.
The individuals you have seen are victims of an ancient enemy, which in its long journey through human history of over 5,000 years has cleverly adapted to the roadblocks of medical science to reach our modern age.
Tens of millions are infected by the bacteria, having lived longer than the pyramids in Egypt, the palaces of Susa, temples of Luxor, and the gardens of Babylon. In my trips to continents, I've found traces of the existence of this unwelcome guest.
The AA bacteria has lived with human beings for millennia. The challenge of most bacteria is to survive. They maneuver and fight for their survival, although at times they are forced to back down. When conditions are favorable, they are relentless in invading their prey. Throughout its history, the AA bacteria cleverly has remained dormant among the multitudes of human beings without disturbance. In populations of Africa, South America, the Far East, and India, AA is not isolated to one part of the world. It has proven to be a capable world traveler. Evidence points to the fact that its birthplace may have been Africa. Today, it has been detected in various forms and disguises in diverse populations around the world. You have seen its ravages repeatedly. You have possibly concluded that the indecorum of the front teeth is either due to natural causes resulting from bad luck or genetic problems.
The consequences of destructive operations can be observed in tens of millions of people who demonstrate clear deformity of two front teeth when they open their mouths, and the teeth look big, flabby, and long. Quite often, the upper teeth touch the lower lip.
Most AA victims have gotten used to closing their mouths before they smile. It is heart-rending to realize that tens of millions of people have bid farewell to their smiles.
I met a native youngster by the glorious monuments of the pharaohs in Egypt and asked him to smile in front of my camera. He did the opposite, shut his mouth and put his lips close together. He knew that nature would not allow him to smile. He would consider smiling an insult to those present. In international conferences, this question is quite often raised. How many people are infected by AA? No one can give an accurate answer to this question. But I can tell you that it would be possible to fill up a continent with victims of the AA bacterium. In China alone, over 100 million children and young adults have been prey to this predator.
No one is quite sure of the reasons why women in communities in North Africa and the Middle East cover their mouths with their hands when they speak.
I asked an Arab sociologist to give me an honest reason. He said there is a religious reason behind it, a kind of ladylike shamefulness and modesty specific of Islamic communities. I believe that most of the women whose teeth have been dilapidated by AA tend to conceal their mouths. And this has nothing to do with religion. I asked a young girl who had come to Alexandria from a village on the edge of the Nile, who do you think is responsible for making your teeth like this? God, she replies, with a sense of assuredness, marking her confidence against fate.
This Arab girl was right to put the blame on God for her ugly teeth, because she had no knowledge of the aggressor that lived in her mouth and was her invisible enemy. There are many victims who put the blame on God or genes for the deformity of their teeth. The fact is, the real suspect is the microorganism that has managed to avoid the hands of science for 5,000 years. AA not only causes physical damage to the teeth, but also compromises the self-confidence of the victims, causing them to become introverted, reclusive, and even depressed. AA has ridden with ancient travelers, immigrants, or accompanied warmongers and military expeditions throughout history. Its most significant travel itinerary has been with commercial caravans from North Africa to the Middle East, India, and East Asia.
After the recent discoveries in Egypt and what we know now about King Tutankhamun, Pharaoh Hatshepsut, Ramses, Queen Nefertiti, it's time to go to Egypt and talk with two scientists from Alexandria, Dr. Maha Munir and Dr. Hala Hosni. Hello, Alexandria.
Hello.
Hello.
I would like to ask you this question. What do we know about this disease in Egypt? How old is this bacterium? And what has been the impact of this disease on the smiles of children and young adults in your country?
This disease is actually prevalent in Egypt. We see lots of men, women, and children affected by the AA disease.
Also, the AA bacterium has possibly been a major contributing factor in damaging the smiles of our youth for thousands of years. Scientific studies from mummies, ancient Egyptian mummies, had revealed severe tartar deposition, bone loss, pocketing in young people, in young mummies. But of course, they have not been treated by Hassera, the first ever known dentist in ancient Egypt, 2500 before Christ.
Actually, there are lots of victims that blame fate or the genes for this deformity. But the AA bacterium has been prevalent in Egypt for nearly 5,000 years ago. Even our great pharaoh Hatshepsut has died of a severe form of this disease.
Also, the AA bacterium, this disease, had not only caused physical damage, it had caused physical damage and economic healthcare burden on Egypt, as well as destroying the self-confidence of its victims, causing them to be more depressed.
I think, in my opinion, that it's time to combat this bacterium and put an end to its damaging effect on the teeth and on the tissues around the teeth.
Dr. Munir, what can we do to defeat this ancient bacterium in Egypt? Is there anything that we can do, or this bacterium will continue to dominate for years and centuries to come?
Yes, of course. The awareness of the presence of this bacterium in Egypt, it must be done. The people, mothers and children and the parents, siblings, they must know about this bacterium. They must know about this infection. This is very important, especially for the mothers, because it has a great damaging effect on the tooth and the tissues around the tooth in the youth.
Shalom from Jerusalem. My name is Professor Adam Stabholz, and I am the Dean of the Hebrew University Hadassah Faculty of Dental Medicine, founded by the Alpha Omega Fraternity. The well-being of children worldwide is challenged by an early in-life oral infection. There is a need to reduce the incidence of AA bacterial infection and improve oral health through prevention. Protecting the smiles of children and adolescents can enhance health and confidence, diminish anxiety and negative feelings, and thus encourage them to explore new ways of moving forward. Thank you.
Man and modern science has overcome many germs and microbes to a large extent, tuberculosis and malaria being in the lead. A germ that has defied the odds and has kept rule over its vast empire is the AA. There were fewer cases of AA in Iran before the beginning of the long war with Iraq. After the war, the number began to increase. The stresses of war have long been known to compromise the immune system, creating a perfect environment for this ruthless invader.
AA targets exactly the area of the mouth that's exposed to view, as if it's aware how to deprive the victims of their physical beauty. You may have noticed that in many of the AA victims, all teeth are fine except the front ones, as if the bacterium is especially aware of what it's aiming at and has a long-term strategy in its mission: destruction of the smile.
Another group of these bacteria have a wider range of attack. They invade the four front teeth, making them crooked and curved. In turn, the gums recede, causing the teeth to look extraordinarily elongated. Some people believe that AA loves to live in the mouths of the impoverished and destitute. Research has proven this to be false. For instance, in Hong Kong, based on a 1987 study, the victims were financially well off. In Malaysia, AA attacked the middle class. It seems that AA has a definite mission, but different affinities. In one location, it infects the rich, and in another, the poor alike. In Brazil, the destructive effects of AA are a lot worse in rural villages than in large cities. In Rwanda, where there are only 16 dentists, the AA victims can be seen everywhere in the country. In Nigeria, AA takes a completely different approach. We know that front teeth are the most enduring teeth that last the longest. However, in this African country, AA not only damages the front teeth, but forces them out completely.
If you ask Nigerians about the factor causing the fall of their teeth, they would say that cavity was the reason. Seeing thousands of women and men in Nigeria with no front teeth is a common sight. In Morocco, the AA bacteria have lived relentlessly for hundreds of years without being bothered. The Moroccan AA flatters itself that it can deform the front teeth. And in Israel, a significant number of children and young adults are also infected by this bacterium. The capital of glamour, beauty and stars. Who could believe that a hidden enemy is lurking behind the scenes? Thousands of individuals in this city are living with the AA bacterium. With its diverse population and migration, the numbers of victims is steadily increasing. The name of this city is Los Angeles.
Although AA is a bacterium, it does not have a good relationship with other types of bacteria. Its racism is undeniable. Laboratory research and scientific observations in trends of bacterial life have revealed they are not inclined to feel more secure with other bacteria. AA is autonomous and oppressive and has only one mission, a mission that Louis Pasteur wisely called the production of infection. AA has an aversion to other bacteria approaching its habitat. If any other microbe dares to encroach on its territory, a confrontation is certain to take place. In a nutshell, eminent domain is a strong attribute of AA. It considers the human mouth its everlasting abode. It's made its water solution can cure a disease of the millenniums. It is astounding that in spite of the abundance of this curative and simple resource, this bacterium has managed to live through the ages. Treatment can start with a salt cellar or kitchen. Just as malaria is frightened of quinine and mythical vampires fear garlic, AA is filled with fear and dread when it encounters salt. What will salt do? Sodium creates a deadly environment for the AA bacteria by shattering the invader's metabolism. When an infant who is just beginning to grow teeth receives a saltwater solution rubbed on his or her gums for a few minutes every day, AA will not have a chance to multiply in the baby's mouth.
The significant function of salt is to stop the microbes' reproduction. Once facing the salt, by performing commando and guerrilla activities, AA becomes distracted, and salt puts an end to its reproduction, and the microbial infrastructure collapses. How about chlorine? Chlorine in the saliva functions in the same way as in a swimming pool or jacuzzi, fights pollution, prevents infection, and provides safety. As we said before, the best way to fight the AA disease is to resort to mothers. Be assured that the mother's fingertip is going to create miracle again. Obviously, it would be possible to use a toothbrush to apply salt water. But believe me, fingertips of mothers are different. Mothers should be asked to spend a few minutes of their time on this job. Put their fingertips in salt water and gently rub on the gums and teeth. When mother performs this, there is less resistance on the part of the child. There is more trust between mother and child, security, bond. The continuity of the job for several weeks or more will eradicate the germs. The AA being certain of providing a secure household for its offsprings and descendants encounters a frightening challenge. First, it demonstrates resistance. However, the mother's fingertip diminishes its harmful influence. And finally, is destroyed.
In ancient wisdom, the teeth were thought to represent strength, vitality, and power because of their enduring quality. But periodontal infection in early life caused by the AA bacterium not only damages the development of strong teeth and healthy gums, but as we have seen, also destroys the smiling function, with devastating consequences to the normal development of the personality. A little saltwater solution rubbed gently on the gums of every infant will once and for all eradicate this oppressive bacterium. This saline solution will empower mothers and caregivers to deliver the treatment that will restore healthy oral development and reinstate the dignity of the smile to its salient, nurturing essence.
Durante mi periodo de servicio militar como alférez del Ejército del Aire Español, tuve la oportunidad de observar una gran variedad de enfermedades orales. Fui destinado al Hospital Policlínico del Macán, en las Islas Canarias, en España, para prestar mis servicios como odontólogo. Fue allí donde por primera vez pude observar enfermedad agresiva de las encías y su impacto en las sonrisas. En concreto, fue el caso de un joven de 17 años el que más me impresionó. Este chico había perdido casi todos sus dientes posteriores en el transcurso de 3 años. Me preguntó alarmado si podría salvar al menos sus dientes anteriores y qué opciones de tratamiento tendría. Tras realizar el examen clínico, observé que padecía una enfermedad de las encías severa con gran destrucción de los tejidos de soporte del diente. Al explicarle el pobre pronóstico del resto de sus dientes y ver que el tratamiento, al menos inmediato, era el de reemplazar todos sus dientes naturales por prótesis completas removibles, pude observar la gran preocupación y tristeza en su cara. Este tipo de enfermedades orales, me refiero a las periodontitis destructivas juveniles o agresivas, seguramente tengan una prevalencia global superior a la reportada en estudios epidemiológicos y pueden causar efectos devastadores a nivel psicosocial y de adaptación, sobre todo en personas jóvenes.
We all depend on healthy teeth to be able to eat, smile, talk, and feel confident. When we lose that valuable asset, it can have a serious impact on our lives. Periodontal disease in my own case probably started in childhood, but lay dormant for many years until it was too late. Luckily, treatment is available, but prevention is vital and requires regular visits to your dentist. Remember, you never realize what you have until you lose it.
How can mothers around the world be advised about a campaign against AA? International resources can play a significant role to create a simple worldwide educational program that will finally eradicate this ominous phenomenon from the face of the earth. Let's remember that the extermination of the AA bacteria does not call for heavy operating systems or resort to pharmaceutical enterprise and high-volume investment with unending bureaucracy. Just a small pinch of salt dissolved in water.
For 3 reasons, the AA bacterium should be taken seriously by the anthropologists and historians. 1. The AA bacterium remains undefeated after thousands of years. 2. The AA disease has a unique clinical feature, which is bone loss of the front teeth. And 3, after death, teeth and bone remain viable and a source of information. Consequently, the study of the AA bacterium and human teeth by the historians can bring light to human evolution and population migration.